I'm Doug.
And I'm Cathy.
And this is Maggie Mae. Join us as we follow the moon. Today, we are at the Wichita Mountains Wildlife Refuge, and we are out to see some bison. We heard this was a good spot for finding some great nature. So we're going to take you through the park and come along and enjoy.
Thanks.
Now, we especially like the sign as you go in that says free roaming bison. That got us excited.
That was pretty exciting just to see that.
Now, this is a map of the park, and I especially like this. 55 miles of paved roads, 15 miles of maintained hiking trails, over 22,000 acres to explore. And you can drive through the whole park and see nearly everything without having to take long hikes, and many of the hikes are short.
Yes.
And this is the scenery. The mountains are beautiful. And we weren't in the park a half a mile, and we started to see bison over in the fields. Cathy had her camera out there, as you saw, and she helped us get some beautiful pictures here off in the distance. The video doesn't zoom in very well, so we're very, very glad to have her additions to this. And the bison were incredible.
And if you don't have a zoom lens, don't let that get you too upset, because there's more.
That's right. But this got us off to a good start. And right now, we were happy because this was the first bison we've seen out here.
That's right.
Stirring up the dust, some were rolling over and kicking their feet up in the air. We made a stop at the visitor center, and I've included some footage from the visitor center. The visitor center is very unique and one of the nicest visitor centers I think I've ever been to. This whole park was put together by the Civilian Conservation Corps, and the first thing when you walk in the door are these two huge bison, and I'm thinking, this is probably as close as I'll ever get to one of these. But back in the early 1900s, after the bison were extinct from this area, they brought 15 of them in by rail car. And the bison that are in the park today all come from those 15. They've got great dioramas here of the different types of animals that you'll find in the park. And one thing I especially like, they have little buttons on the display so you can hear what those animals sound like in the wild. So when you hear them, you'll know what you're looking for. There's little prairie dogs. That wall was beautiful, from the Texas longhorns to the bison to the elk. Those are ringtails. And of course the armadillo in its upright position, which is not how you normally find them. This guy was just laying along the road. In fact, we kind of startled him as he was head down when we first saw him. But until we got the car stopped, he raised his head up to see what we were doing.
He actually looked like a rock.
Yeah. And there are a lot of those pink granite boulders along the way, and that's exactly what we thought it was at first, and all of a sudden he reared his head up. Then we saw more bison, and they were much closer. And there were many, many more of them.
You could tell it's early. Their hair, their fur was starting to, their winter coat was starting to fall off.
Yeah, they were just kind of going through that molting process, and here were some that were running along the road, some coming out on the road.
You could tell it was spring too.
It's amazing to see how fast those guys can run for as big as what they are. And they have the right of way, and they know it. they'll just keep merging over into your lane, and
They definitely will stop traffic.
you've heard of bear jams in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. These are the bison jams that you hear about out west. We had no idea we would see bison like this in Oklahoma.
We were expecting to see some on the way, but just not this early.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going, this is our road.
Mm-hmm. Taking both lanes. That one guy's turning around and watching us there.
I think he was directing traffic.
Or maybe he was watching for a couple of these stragglers that were coming along from behind. You always hear, don't get too close for them because they can really move. And it's amazing to see how fast these huge creatures that normally just kind of lumber along, how fast they really can be going. There were a lot of babies too while we were there.
Yes.
And the babies are all the lighter color, and they are just cute as can be. And they keep them very protected. They're always right alongside one of the adults. They're so fun to watch.
They're like big puppies.
Mm-hmm. They really are. How could you just not love that? Here's a pair coming across the road, and another few of them coming across the road. You do have to keep your peripheral vision as you drive through here. Now, compared to a lot of the terrain we've seen in Oklahoma, there's quite a few mountains, rock formations. Now, here were some that were coming back towards us. You'll see the fence line there. Part of it is dividing off land of the wildlife refuge where they don't want you to go, they don't want you to hike. Part of it is also Fort Sill military base. And more of them crossing the road. Now here again, you'll start to see some more of these rock formations, and the whole park is scattered with these boulders of pink granite, and including the mountains, the larger ones, they are all loose pieces of pink granite. It's really something to see.
Yeah, you go from the flatlands up into the low hills, and then right on up to mountain.
Mm-hmm. Now this is Lake Quanah Parker, and this lake was formed by a dam, and when you get to this parking area, just a very short walk, you get up to the dam and you can actually walk across the dam. But this is, again, more than pink granite. It's just beautiful. There's what opens the floodgate.
And the view is beautiful.
Yeah, on both sides
Yes.
of the dam. And there's several of these lakes and dam structures throughout the park. Now this is the Ferguson House. This is an example of what they call cannonball, which are these pink granite rocks that they made their structures out of. This was a home to a couple and their 10 children. And behind it there you can see their storm shelter. Now next up is Jed Johnson Lake, which also includes the dam. This one didn't have any water spilling over it at the time, but it's a beautiful lake.
You could see the wind blowing that water.
Yeah, definitely. And on the lake is the Jed Johnson Tower. And again, all made out of the pink granite. Everything in this area is made like this. You'll also find a sign for the holy city of the Wichitas right there within the wildlife refuge. And this is a replication of the holy city from all the different things you hear of in the Bible. It starts here with the statue of Christ of the Wichitas. And this is a little map of all the different buildings that are there. Again, all made out of the same stone. And as you walk through it, it takes you through the inn and the manger where Christ was born, and on through the crucifixion. Now, as we're leaving here, there's some rocks along the side of the road, and I couldn't get to it. They were on Cathy's side, and there was a little prairie dog who was eyeing us up one side and down the other. And there were holes along every one of these rocks, so I know it was an entire community, but that guy was out for YouTube. Now, the largest mountain in the park is Mount Scott, and there's a road that climbs all the way to the top of Mount Scott. And here again, you can see this mountain is all made of these boulders of pink granite. And the guardrail is also made out of pink granite.
That's right. And the views are spectacular.
Yeah, the views are amazing. You get to see one of the larger lakes there in the distance. And they do have pull-offs as you go along. It was a little bit cloudy, a little bit overcast the day we were there.
And very windy.
Yes, very windy.
And look at those clouds.
But the views are just incredible. You see people out there hiking and looking over the sides for the view.
Yeah, it was just beautiful.
Now, as you leave the park, right at the edge of the park, you'll see a sign, "Welcome to Medicine Park, Oklahoma's first cobblestone community." And to get into the downtown, the historic downtown, you go across this bridge. And it's weight rated. You can take your car, don't take your RV.
Yeah.
You'll be walking across the bridge, or swimming, depending.
I love this quaint little town. This is my kind of place.
It's just a very peaceful town. Now, they were having a Christian Motorcycle Association rally there. So as the day went on, there were more and more motorcycles coming in. But we stopped here after being in the park and just wanted to drive through and see what Medicine Park is.
A lot of those houses are made with those cannonball rocks. Lots of little shops.
Yeah, the downtown's got lots of little shops, eateries. It's kind of a little party town.
Yeah.
It looks very laid back, but it's kind of a little party town. And there's anything from street tacos to, I like the name of Nice Ice Baby, which was their daiquiri store. They've got a music hall for entertainment. A big rubber duck there. And the reason for the rubber duck is that river that we went across the bridge runs all the way along the downtown. And right behind those little shops and businesses we showed you is this river walk. Beautiful little waterfall. I haven't figured out Kissing Tree. It was nice, but I didn't have that much affection for it.
It didn't seem to have much for you either.
No. It just kind of stood there. Now there's the bridge from down at the river walk. And we decided to grab a late lunch at Riverside Cafe. And it was a late lunch. There was nobody there when we got there, but it did really fill up before we left.
Yes, it did.
And sitting there on that beautiful deck, looking over the river, the bridge is right there to the side. And what food.
Oh my goodness, it was amazing.
You had the porky parky, and I had a jalapeno popper burger. Those country potatoes were out of this world.
Yes, they were.
Well, Cathy, we got to see the bison. You got to see the prairie dog.
Yep.
We got to see a whole lot of neat things, and we ended up here in Medicine Park at the end of the day. What did you think about the day?
It has been great. It really has been fabulous. And I love this little town.
We knew we were going to get to see some amazing wildlife this season. We didn't know it was going to be this early in the trip in Oklahoma. So it's been a very pleasant surprise.
It sure has.
So with that, if you've enjoyed the video today as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you, leave us a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, there'll be a button at the end, up in that top corner. Press that button, you'll subscribe to the channel there, and you can ring the notification bell so you know when every one of our videos come out.
And thank you for following us as we follow the moon.